Hey, what's up, guys? It's James here. I have just gotten off a call. It wasn't actually a call, it was a training session. I'm starting to film some of the content that I'm going to use for some of the training modules that I want to kind of put out for a membership course. And I took someone through the process for the first time today. Just the beginning steps of the process, the emotional transformation framework, which is a in-depth process of being able to allowing you to insert your contextual life situation into it and potentially transform the emotional component of that situation. If it's shutting you down, if it's putting you into a state of stress, fear, distress, anxiety, anything potentially that's negative, you plug your life situation into this framework and it will take you through the step-by-step sequence of how to think, the specific steps of what to think, and you apply it to your life situation and it'll potentially shift that negative emotion into a positive state of mind. And I took someone through the process for the first time today, just the first few steps, and they already started seeing results, like just from a 20-minute training or a 5-minute exercise. And I'm super excited about how this is going to help impact a lot more people. I'm still in a beta testing stage, obviously I'm trialing this out because this is a framework that I used that when I was going through topical steroid withdrawal or topical steroid addiction, my body was going through a detoxing process and I was going through all the physiological symptoms, being shut down myself, operating on 2 hours of sleep, basically having no skin barrier and not being able to have a shower like every day. Essentially, I could only shower like once a week at most, which is pretty bad. And I still had to do all the day-to-day stuff, I still had to go to work, bills to pay, relationships and stuff like that. And that stuff doesn't go away. You live with the process of you going through a healing crisis when you're going through it, and you have no idea how long it's going to take. For me, it took 5 years. It took 5 years, but I didn't know at the time how long it was going to take. I thought it was going to take, initially, I thought it was going to take like a month. And then that month turned to 3 months, and then 6 months, and then 1 year, and then 2 years, and then 3 years. And then after 3.5 years, I'm like, is this ever going to go away? Like, you don't know, because you're experiencing it day to day in your life. You wake up, I had 2 hours of sleep every day. For a year and a half, I operated completely adrenally fatigued, and this is the system that I used for myself to handle the emotional component, because a lot of people don't realize or don't think about that when you're going through a health challenge, that there's a lot more to it than just the physiological aspect. There's the emotional aspect that's attached to it. There's a spiritual aspect as well. And if you don't deal with the emotional aspect, it could be hell going through whatever it is that you're going through. We have to deal with both the physiological component as well as the emotional side. And we can touch on the spiritual side, but a lot of people don't really do that. And this system that I created, or that I used myself, essentially kind of had to figure it out based on all the stuff that I went through and all the training that I went through over the last decade. Kind of had to put together the stuff that really worked for me, and I created this system and kind of just put it into a framework, essentially. And this is what I used for 5 years. And it helped me deal with the emotional component, and it really got me through some pretty tough times. So I'm super excited to see the results that other people could potentially get from this framework and how they can implement it into their life. And the good thing and the interesting thing is, you don't actually need to communicate what your challenge is to someone else. This is something you can implement by yourself. When I was going through my topical steroid, I didn't talk to anyone. I did it by myself. I went through this process by myself in my own mind. Now, obviously, I had a partner, Sally was there, and I had friends and family, but they don't know entirely the experience that you're going through on a moment to moment, second by second basis. No one can ever really understand that. because only you can ever really understand your own physical experience. And sometimes you need a map, you need a guide, you need a system to help you navigate the complexity of the thoughts that you're having and the complexity of the emotions that arise. Many, many times I found myself sitting on the couch at like 3 a.m. in the morning. I couldn't sleep because I was living on 2 hours of sleep. Crazy amount of itching, an insatiable itch, an uncurable itch. Imagine getting bitten by 50,000 mosquitoes, and not just on your skin, all the way down into the bone. And imagine being like that for 5 straight years, all over your body, not just in one place, everywhere. And you have no skin barrier. So when you brush your skin, it literally comes off, right? Imagine not being able to walk into a shower or have a shower because it feels like you're showering in razor blades, or it feels like you're on fire because the skin barrier is not protecting you anymore. This is what it was like for 5 years. I couldn't go to the beach for a year and a half. I couldn't play basketball. I couldn't even do sports. For the first year and a half, I was out. I was done. I couldn't do anything, right? So you need to have something potentially that you can use as a guidepost to regulate yourself, to self-regulate. And this is the challenge, because this extends outside of just physical ailments or health challenges, right? This can extend into performance. You know, you're working on improving your performance, because a lot of these experiences that we have, a lot of the negative traumatic experiences, whether they're huge traumas or smaller traumas, all these experiences culminate and they create these neural pathways in our mind. And we really need to deal with a lot of this stuff. But for most of us, we don't have the time to do that. We don't have a system to do that. And even if we have someone else to talk to, they may not really know experientially what it's like to be in our position. They may not know experientially what it's like to give you the right, the right guidance. And I'm not saying I'm the answer here, right? I'm not saying that I have the answers for every single person's problem. Everybody's problem is different. Everybody's problem is complex. But there are general goalposts, or there are general components that are very similar in what makes up an emotional challenge. And I've done my best to break down and chunk down the last 5, 10, 15 years of my experience of, number one, going through it, and all the stuff that I've learned as well, meeting the different people, and all different types of modalities, and to really systematize it in a way that that is easy to apply, that is consumable, and has the potential to completely transform how you feel and take you from where you are to potentially where you want to go. If you guys are interested in knowing more about the emotional transformation framework, I'm still doing some beta testing on it. And if you really would like to experience and learn about it a little bit more, reach out to me, whether it's here in the comments or send me a DM or something like that. And I'm only taking a few people. Like, this is my life's work. This is not perfection. It's progression. It's something that is an ongoing process of learning, and it could potentially save you the 4 to 40 year learning curve, or 5 to 15 year learning curve, which is how long it took me to learn this. And trying to sort, sift, and separate through all the different modalities that are out there. There's a lot of stuff, especially if you start going to the spiritual realm. If you guys are into that, like, not everybody's into that, obviously, but if you start delving into some of those areas, it gets very, very complex, and there's a lot of stuff that's out there, and there's a lot of pitfalls as well that people don't really realize. So this process is designed in such a way to not only deal with the emotional component, but the physiological and also the spiritual simultaneously. And in a way that allows you to really take control over your own emotions so that you can be independent or not codependent on any external circumstance, potentially. And I think there's a great power in that because, there's going to be a time where there's no one around. There may be a time where you can't reach out to anyone. There may be a time where you're completely shut down, isolated. There may be a time. I mean, we just came out of a pandemic, right? We just came out of that. And for a lot of people, they were stuck at home. They didn't have the interaction that they could have with other people. They didn't have the communication, the ability to connect with other people the way that we do right now. And in those moments, it would be nice to have a system and a framework that if you're experiencing any challenges, that you can plug your situation into it, and it can potentially transform how you feel from any state of negativity, potentially, to a state of positivity, of gratitude, of joy, and allowing you to process internally that experience in such a way that could make all the difference in your life. If you're interested in this, let me know. Reach out to me. Hit me up in the comments. Bye for now.